Hi, my name's Ian and welcome to the channel. Not been here before, now been here before, and welcome back. In this video we're going to be carrying out a engine oil and filter service on the Peugeot Boxer camper van. So I'll show you what we've got and what we're going to fit. So this is the service kit that I've got. We've got air filter, diesel filter, oil filter and also a pollen filter as well. I'm going to split this video up into segments. So the first thing we're going to have is the engine oil and filter change. Then we're going to do the air filter change, diesel filter change, and then the pollen filter change. I've already done a video on doing the pollen filter change in the past, but I'll add it to the end of this video. So we're now ready to do our engine oil service. So the oil filter, you can just see over there on my fingers pointing. The sump plug nut is just here. Sump plug bolt, should I say. It's 13mm socket is what you need to get that undone, and then obviously once you've got it undone, make sure you've got a container ready to catch the oil. One thing I always do whilst doing an oil change is to pull the dipstick out as well. It just helps the oil flow a bit more, and it also gives me a reminder of the fact that I've not refilled it yet. And then also like to just undo the cap, just rest it on top, just helps the bit of air flow down there, just helps it to gravitate out. Whether it does or not I don't really know, but I've always done it. So now the oil's draining out, and next thing we're going to do is take the oil filter out and let that drain for a bit and then replace it. Well, I must say the oil filter was really tight. Bearing in mind I put it on last year and I don't remember tightening it up that much, but I had to use one of these tools just to get it loose. But, that's the oil filter now ready to come out. Let's chuck it in there. Yeah. It's a mucky job this, but it's damn sight better than paying somebody to do it. Right, let's grab the oil filter. You'll notice here that I'm using all good quality parts. It's all Bosch parts, and then we've got man oil as well. It came as a whole kit from eBay, so I've got 7 litres of oil, and then obviously the oil filter, air filter, diesel filter, and the cabin filter or pollen filter, whatever you want to call it, all for £77 delivered, which I thought was quite good. To actually buy all this stuff separately will cost me probably nearly £100 or more. Before refitting the oil filter, or the new one should I say, I'm going to pre-fill it with oil and then also get some oil around the ring there as well, just to help it seal. So that's the oil filter now pre-filled, and then I've also then gone around the seal with a bit of oil as well. When you're fitting your new filter, make sure you only tighten it up hand tight. It doesn't need anything more than that. So there's no need to wrench or anything like that. Just literally give it tighten up just to the hand tightness and nothing more. Excuse the angle of that angle here. Just make sure that you put your sump bolt back in once you've finished draining all the oil out, and then tighten it up to specified torque for the vehicle. Now, apart from the oil filter lurking in here somewhere, I've also lost my 13mm socket. So now we've drained all the oil out, we're now going to be replacing it with 6 litres of oil. It actually takes 6.3 litres altogether, but we've probably put about 0.3 into the oil filter, but we can check that later. Right, so that's all the new oil in now, so just going to give it a quick start up, check the level again, and then that'll be that job complete. Right, our next job we're going to do is change the air filter. Now this locates underneath this round thing you can see here, and there's 4 Phillips type screws. So there's one in this corner down here, there's one over there, and then you got another one behind that pipe, and then there's another one just down here as well, but they're fairly easy to get at. So once you've undone the 4 screws and you've got the cover off, you'll then find the air filter located down here in this hole. So I'm going to pull it out. Oop. A quick look down there, let's make sure there's no debris down there. There's nothing down there, that's alright. Now this old air filter has probably been in for the last 3 years, and we ended up doing quite a big trip up into Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Germany, all around there about 2 years ago, and probably in reality it could last a bit longer, but we're planning on doing a trip this year, which we're going to probably cover about maybe 5,000 or 6,000 miles possibly. So I want to make sure that the van's breathing properly as it is. I mean, I could probably end up putting this one back in at some point if we're just doing some short distances in the UK, but as I said, because we're going to do this big trip, I think we'll change it. So this is the nice new Bosch one. As I said, I keep looking at the other one thinking, should I really change it? But I think I will. I think I'll change it anyway for peace of mind. So that's the new air filter in. So the next job we're going to do is change the diesel filter, which is located here in this canister. Now, for when I've done it before, I found the easiest way to get in at it is actually to remove this headlamp, which is quite an easy task. So to remove the headlamp, first thing you want to do is disconnect the electrics to it. So this little grey thing here, if you just slide that to your left hand side, which I've already done because I can't do it with just one hand, you need two, and then just literally pull the plug out, and that's that done. Then you only want to undo this bolt here, which is a Torx T30, and the same with this up here, which is also a Torx T30. So once you've undone this bolt, and the one up from the corner looks like this, it's quite a bit of thread on it, so it takes a little while to come out. Then grab hold of your headlamp and pull it to the left like that, and then you can then lift it out. So the next thing you need to do is disconnect this plug down here, and then we're going to disconnect this fuel line here and that fuel line up there. So to release this wire, I think the easiest way I found to do it is to take the bracket off. That was two 13mm nuts to get that off, and then what you then need to do is you need to push this metal thing upwards, and then this plug will then come out. So to get the fuel pipes off, what we need to do is to push this grey one forward whilst pulling this black pipe backwards at the same time. It's not something I'm going to be able to do whilst holding the camera, and that'll be the same for the one up on the top. Please bear in mind that you will have diesel start to leak out of this once you release it. So I suggest you do the top one first, then the bottom one, and then quickly get the whole thing out of the way, and try and stop the diesel leaking as best as possible. Right, so that's the diesel filter now out, or the housing out. The filter actually lives inside here, and you're going to need a special tool to get the lid off of this. But the first thing we need to do is probably drain out as much of the diesel as we can before we start. So I'm going to get myself a jam jar and just pour the diesel out of this filter into it first. So to actually change the filter in this housing, you're going to need one of these laser diesel filter removal kits. So we've got the lower part of it sat inside the vise, and then don't squeeze it too tight, it's just literally to hold it in place, and then this bit here fits over the top. So we're going to undo it, and then when we come to do it back up again, we need to make sure we use a torque wrench on it and torque it up to no more than 30 Newton meters. So to undo it, you'll basically need a 1/4 inch drive socket, or should I say a 1/2 inch drive socket, and then we're going to then undo it. But I'll do it with two hands, so obviously I can steady it. Please note the reason for that you're going to hold it in this into the vise itself is because it's very, that can be quite difficult to get off. It's just been quite a bit of force, so there's no way you can actually release this without holding this and the actual piece of kit in the vise. So once you've fully released it, this basically comes off, which then leaves this section here, and then we then need to get this section out of here, which basically is then the filter coming out. As you can see, it's quite manky. Just going to sit that in there for a minute. Now I have drained all the diesel out into these two jam jars here, but there is a little bit more left in there, so I'll just drain the rest of that out, and then get the other filter prepared, ready to go, and then we'll then swap them over. Part of this procedure as well is also to replace this rubber seal. Your new filter should come with a new seal with it. We're just going to give everything a bit of a clean up, because basically what you don't want to do is introduce any muck into this new into the filter housing whilst you put the new filter in, or getting any muck in it. Obviously you don't want to go clogging up your diesel system. So to actually get the filter off of the older part, this part of the housing, is basically you just rotate it to the right and pull. So that's the old filter now off, and that's basically what it locates onto. So when we're going to put the new filter in, we're going to then put it in, push it and rotate it then to the left, and it should click in. The new Bosch filter is different to the old one, but it still clicks in the same way that the other one did. Before reinstalling, we need to make sure we put our new seal in, which is what I've just done. It's this there. Please note when you're putting these back in, there are some locating tabs, and you'll find it'll only locate back in one particular position. So obviously we knew that's the way we took it out from the van, so we had one pipe going in this way, we had a different pipe coming in from the top there, so that's the only way around that it can possibly go in. But as I said, it has got 3 locating tabs, but it'll only locate on the right one, if you get what I mean. Anyway, next thing we need to do now is to screw our top back on. And then I'm going to get my torque wrench out, and then I'm going to torque that up to 30 Newton meters. So that's the filter now torqued back up again, so it's just a case of refitting it, which is basically the reverse of taking it out. So to get the fuel pipes back on again, there's no need to do anything with the plastic, with the grey bit. It just basically just push them in and they click in position. That's it. Just need to get that bottom electrical connection back in now, so I'll probably do exactly what I did last time with it, was just pull it off the bracket, spin it around sideways and then get it in that way. It's the easiest way of doing it, and then put the two 13 mil nuts back on there, and then we'll be ready to start priming it up. So now we've got the fuel filter back on again, what we now need to do is we need to prime the system. So because obviously the fuel filter now is completely empty of fuel, so what we're going to do, we're going to basically run the pump about 5 times. So basically what you want to do is cycle the ignition, and you'll hear on and off the pump starting to prime up. You're going gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. But anyway, I'm going to do that about 5 or 6 times until it stops gurgling, and then I'll start it up. Now it was gurgling quite a while. It took probably about 10 cycles just to stop it from stopping gurgling. You can hear it going glug 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 glug. So if it's doing that, then obviously just don't try and start it. Just keep cycling it until it stops making that noise. And I'm pretty sure now we should be okay to start it. There we go. Just let it run for a little bit just to make sure, just in case there's any air in it, etc., just to pump it through, but we should be pretty well all right. It's just telling me to check daytime running lights. That might be because the headlamp's missing. Right, anyway, we'll carry on. So that was running. We'll just check for some leaks, just make sure everything's as it should be. There's a tiny bit of wetness down where the plug is, but that sort of leaked onto it beforehand, so I just need to dry that off. But pretty much all right at the moment. I'll keep an eye on it. Refitting the headlamp was the reverse of taking it out, but what you want to do is just, once you get located in position, is just give it a shove to the right, and you'll hear it click in, and then obviously just then make sure that your bolts line up, this one here, and then obviously the one that goes in the back there. The thing we've got left to do is just put the plug back in, get it in the right position. That not want to go back in. Because the plastic thing's stuck out, that's why. Here we go, so that's the plug back in there now, and then you click that back, make sure that's all in properly, which it is. So yeah, that's that bit done. So all that's left now is the pollen filter change, which is located behind the glove box here. There's quite a bit to take out. As I said, I have done a video on this before, which I'm going to either put a link to on this video, or I'll just add it to the end of the video if you want to then watch it. As I said, I'll put on the video that I've already done before for getting that pollen filter, but just look at the state of this one. This is what I'm just pulling out now today. And all that crud and stuff in there. That's why you need to change your pollen filter, ladies and gentlemen. So that's the oil and filter service now complete. If you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Please like and subscribe to the channel, it was appreciated, and I'll see you again in the next one. Cheers.